Yeah, lots of mouth sounds of chewing.
What was that political show when they're sitting around the table?
Oh, like the McLaughlin Group?
The McLaughlin Group? Or, yes, it gives that McLaughlin Group
that's what we go for.
Yeah.
I want the McLaughlin Group. You know what? David has no idea who we're talking about. Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
you guys done? Because I need to do an intro to the Autopian Podcast Season 2.
Wow.
Okay, everyone, this is it. Welcome to Season 2 of the Autopian Podcast.
We get really excited about this. We actually completed a season. Congratulations, Joe.
We did it.
Great job.
And
a triumph.
And we have a sponsor, Marble.
Someone's paying us to do this now?
Yes.
It is a miracle.
Holy
But we're
shit.
grateful. We're grateful.
Marble, that product or service is something I use every day. I love it.
Oh, you're good at this.
Thank you.
It is a fantastic product. I love it.
Or
Use
service.
it every single day, a product or service.
I can't imagine life without it now.
Saving money on insurance.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to save money on insurance?
I think it
Especially
also.
if you hoard cars, there's no other way to do it.
I think
Yes.
there's like a charity aspect to it.
We really should know our sponsors better.
What do they do? There is a
So-
charity because I know you put all your car
Let's keep it
insurance into
simple
one
here.
thing.
Do they have a website?
On your phone, they have an excellent app, Marble app.
Yeah.
And on your phone, you can look at your policies of
Can I
all
see
your
the app?
cars. Sure, I have it right here.
By the way,
that's Tinder.
We weren't paid to do this part. This is actually part of the podcast. We're just trying to
This
figure this
is,
out.
yeah.
This is not a commercial.
I just opened this Marble app.
Yeah. What did you learn?
I am paying over $1,000 for insurance for 6 months for the Mustang, which I haven't driven.
Wait, what?
Which I haven't driven. It's in 6 months. $1,000. I might as well set it on fire.
Good use of money.
See, that's the beauty of this app is you can figure out when you're wasting your money like I am.
Like that is a waste.
That is total waste.
Okay. Well, should we talk about getting into season 2 here? We got
Yes.
we got some fun and all kinds of stuff. It's been a while.
It's been
Yes,
6 months.
It's June 2023. Our last episode was in December of 2022. So we are sorry for anyone who's waiting.
Oh yeah, I'm sure everyone's just been really
They
upset
have
with
been.
us that they've been waiting patiently, and here we are.
6 months, but that means we have a lot to talk about.
We sure do.
Yeah,
I think.
we
And we'll try to be interesting this time.
the site, the Autopian.com, the
website.
the website
Yeah.
affiliated with this podcast,
Big fan.
has grown a lot in the last 6 months.
You guys are kicking ass. I just want to say.
You're peach.
It's all
thank you.
Torch.
No, it's all of us, David. We're all working hard. We actually all are working hard.
Torch wrote an art. I'll just say, among your best work of the last 6 months,
Yeah.
it involved a chainsaw and batteries. And
Well,
Yes.
it was just incredible. It is.
I don't know if it's my best work, but it's the article I've done in the past 6 months that's left a physical mark on me because I lost a fingernail in the process. See that where it's growing back in there? I lost a fingernail because so the important thing is we should use this as an opportunity to all of our car dealings with have changed a little bit. So my Changli's been dormant because the lead acid batteries in it went bad and they swelled, so they got fat. So and there's like a box under the seat where like these 5 lead acid batteries sit.
So you're saying the extended warranty didn't cover these items?
It didn't cover it. And I reached out to the Changli people.
And Changli, by the way, the Changli people, what he means is the company that sells the cheapest electric car in the world on
Yes.
Alibaba, the Chinese marketplace, online
Right.
market. It's a ridiculous little
Oh
car.
yeah. So this was just to if in case anyone doesn't know, they call them old man happy cars in China. It's 1.1 horsepower. It was $930 plus $300 for the batteries. They're just regular lead acid batteries. And I've been driving this thing. I got it in like the pandemic in 2020. I've been driving it as much as possible. We wrote about it and did all kinds of fun stuff with it. But the lead acid batteries have a lifespan, and they went bad and they swelled up.
Well, how long is that lifespan? That was only a couple years ago.
It only has 3 years.
So
3
how many
years.
miles do you think you got on it?
That's a great question.
1,000
Does
miles.
it actually calculate that?
It does calculate your miles, and then when you turn off the car, it resets to 0. So yes and no.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You just keep like a notepad by it?
I hypothetically could.
Yeah.
I don't know, but there was a period of time where I would drive it more than any other car I had because I live in a college town and there's lots of streets that
Yeah,
are
that makes
35 miles
sense.
or less. I could do 85+% of what I needed in a car in that little thing.
In a 20 mile per hour Chinese.
It could
like,
do maybe
little-
25 on the flat.
It is. Anyway, so
Yeah.
your batteries expanded.
Okay, so they expanded, and they were basically like car batteries, and there's like 5 of them in this little box under the seat, like a steel box, and because they swelled up, they they basically filled that volume of space so much they locked themselves in. So to get new, and we have someone we're talking to now. This is going to be exciting. We have someone who's going to do a lithium conversion of the Changli. So we'll have a lithium battery pack, which probably will mean more power. So I'm hoping to get to 3 horsepower, which would be triple the power of this thing. So I think we're going to, so we're going to do that. But to do that, I have to take the batteries out. Oh yeah, we got some on the screen here. You can see the batteries. Look, see how all of those batteries, Beau, are stuck together. I could not get them out, and I was prying with crowbars and all kinds of things. They were just locked in place. So I got really frustrated and stupid, like deeply stupid.
This is genius.
Yeah, and so I took a chainsaw, and I figured if I can just make one of the batteries fail.
So this wasn't a bit.
No.
You're saying this is not comedy. This is
not intentional comedy. No.
That's what I mean. You actually thought this would work.
Yes. Yeah, I did. I thought this would work.
But I love how you took it right down the center of the battery too, like not off to one side or try to get something out. Just like let's just cut through the MFR.
It's a cake. Like
yes.
I'm just gonna hack through it like a birthday cake.
I don't know that I've ever seen as many concerned emails and comments.
Yeah,
when they saw that you chainsawed through a lead acid car battery.
No, it's.
I'm pretty sure that's how Tesla recycles their batteries.
Oh, this is exactly
that's the method, right?
The problem is it throws a lot. Like, here's the amazing thing about these batteries is the inside looks like it's just potting soil or dirt, but it's actually a lot of lead. And throwing it all up
really
in the air,
bad for you.
It's so bad for you. And I was wearing.
Look at that glove.
Yeah, I had a
half
glove.
on there.
How'd that work out for you, Jason?
Not great. So the reason my finger got all smashed is because I had one of these batteries like lifted up, and I was trying to get it out, and it fell down and just crushed my finger between and it turned black, and then it all broke, and and then the nail turned black, and eventually it fell off.
And then you breathed in that lead the whole time.
I was wearing no ventilation at all. It was the worst. Nobody should. Okay, let's just take a moment and say nobody should do this. It's a terrible, stupid idea, and I'm sure I breathed in a lot of lead. But then you and I, Beau, we grew up in the lead gasoline era. So I feel like I'm already lead saturated.
We could talk about so many things that we lived through that we shouldn't have. You know what I mean? So.
Have you seen the studies about like low IQ from lead acid? Lead acid.
Is that what happened to us?
Well, that's the only thing I can think of. That.
Well, what happened to me?
I wasn't breastfed.
And smog in LA. By the way, I got that going for me too.
I don't know what happened to David though, but I know. But anyway, so yeah, there was, and then I had to use a hammer. Like,
what are you doing?
Well, it was. I just had to get they were so locked in place. I had to break the integrity of at least one battery so I could get the others out, and some of them had literally fused together. Like I lifted out multiples. Look at that. See how those two batteries are like stuck together? They were impossible to get out. So I had to just fight, chew through them.
Idea.
It was terrible. It was but I don't know how else I would have done it. People are saying you should have
anyway else. I mean, geez,
not the chainsaw. Come on.
Any other choice would be superior.
Anyway, all this is to say that though we're late to season 2 of our podcast, it's a miracle we're having one at all.
Yeah, exactly. The fact any of us are here, is a big deal.
All right, car changes. So okay, you got the Changli, whatever.
Yeah,
I've purchased a few vehicles since December, multiple.
Yes,
including. Our second most.
Well, let's just qualify because you moved here, and one of the big things you were doing when you moved is like you were saying, "I need to reduce the amount of cars I have because it's ungainly." And so you got rid of some cars, and then we moved you, and that's a whole other nightmare that we went through.
And we haven't even talked about how LA you've gone since you've got here. But you're more LA than I am officially now.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Look at you.
Look at your smooth style. Your talk with a walk attitude.
Ugh.
Yeah, you're very LA.
Well, okay, I did buy an electric car, so that doesn't help my point.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. What'd you get, David?
I bought a used, the cheapest BMW i3 in America.
Have you confirmed that?
I have confirmed that myself.
And there was a reason.
Because I'm a cheap bastard.
No. Why? Why was
the car, why it was the cheapest.
Oh, yeah, it was the cheapest because the battery was toast. It has 135,000 miles on it, and the high voltage battery, the most expensive single part of an electric car was done. But
so what kind of range was it making?
No, wait, we need numbers. How much was it? What's the cheapest i3 in America?
$10,499.
That doesn't seem that cheap to me.
Not that cheap.
No.
Electric cars are not cheap.
What year was it?
2014.
And what was the range?
Just gonna ask.
The condition. Okay, so with this place selling it for basically $10,500.
It's a BMW dealer.
BMW dealer, $10,500. How far could you have gone if you just kept it as is?
I could have driven like 40 some miles on pure electric.
Who's paying $10,000 for a car that can go 40 miles?
Tracy.
So I wanted to know the state of the battery because the 40-some mile range estimate, you don't know. People in the electric car world call this the guessometer. It's like, how far am I going to go? It says 45.
Well, what do they do in the day? What was the range?
Well, the day that I showed up, it said range.
No, brand new. Like
brand new. Oh, yeah, in the day. 72 miles.
That was it?
Yeah. Yep.
And somebody put 100,000 miles on this thing?
I don't understand how they did that. So it does have this range. So get this. It does have this range extender thing, which is a little gas engine, but its fuel tank is 2.4 gallons. So you're already restricted.
Is that somebody added that?
No.
So the car
the i3 has that?
It has a range extender.
I didn't even know.
So you go your 70 miles on electric, and then the little range extender fires up and charges the battery. You can
I've never known anyone that actually bought one of these, so I'm just learning about it now.
No one did.
Yeah.
So someone drove 135,000 miles in 9 years on a car that has a 2.4 gallon gas tank and goes 72 miles on electric. I don't understand how they pulled that off. If they were just constantly charging and refilling their car 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But anyway.
Wow, yeah.
Anyway.
You should calculate how much time they would have had to spend.
So did you have to buy a new battery?
This is where it gets good.
So I asked the dealership, what's the state of this battery? It says 40 miles on it, but like I can't trust that. And they told me, we're not going to tell you the state of the battery. And I was like, what? I need to know the state of the, like, how can I buy a car if I have no clue if the battery's any good? So they were like, if you can just buy it first and then we'll tell you. And I'm like, it seems a little weird, but whatever, let's do it. Because I knew. I didn't
know that was a practice these days. I got to get with the program here. So first you sell it, then you tell them what they get.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that was weird. I thought that was
yeah, of course that's weird.
Right? I'm like, come on, anyway. So I was like, I'll just buy it because if the battery's good, then good. I got a car with a good battery. And if the battery's bad, I was convinced that I could get a free battery. I asked the BMW dealer as I was checking out, they were like trying to sell me all these warranties. And I was like, doesn't the car still have warranty on it? And they told me, absolutely not. 8-year warranty. The car has no warranty whatsoever. And I was like, I don't know if I believe it, but I'll buy it. So I took a risk there because if it had had a bad battery, I would have been screwed. And it did have a bad battery, but I did some research, and I found that the California Air Resources Board requires automakers to offer a 10-year, 150,000-mile warranty.
There you go.
That's it.
On batteries for partial zero emission vehicles. So if it were a pure electric, it wouldn't have counted, strangely.
Wow.
But because it has the gas generator in it, it counted. And so they gave me a new battery for free. So
and how much would that battery have cost you if you had to buy it?
Probably like $20,000.
That's
maybe
at least
tripling. Yeah.
So I ended up with this car with a brand new battery.
Now it's a deal.
i3 with a gorgeous interior.
And you can go like dozens of miles now. Dozens.
So I drove it to San Diego and back.
Yeah, pretty good.
So I can go about 80 miles on electric, and then
I keep forgetting that's got that little gas thing because it'll help.
Then I get another like 100 miles on gas, so 180 miles, and then I gotta
And you can keep refilling the tank, of course.
Yeah, but it's 2.4 gallons. So
you're stopping every hour.
Really, if you drive any more than about 300 miles, it starts to get annoying. But anything under 300, it's fine. So. It's great. I drive it all the time.
Okay, Mr. LA, driving your electric BMW around instead of your
I just love the car. Carbon fiber, it's got a little, and it's rear engine, rear wheel drive.
It's actually an appealing little car. I'm sold. Like, it was a weird car to start with.
I always thought they were fugly. I think now they're a little bit more charming.
I think they're... Yeah. They were a technological dead end. They were all carbon fiber. They were very experimental. The interior has this weird little... it's got the suicide doors, and it's got bamboo.
Yeah, it's so weird how BMW and Nissan were ahead of the game, and Toyota, and just completely gave up.
Yeah, we always talk about that. Toyota had this incredible brand,
Prius. Prius. Why wasn't Prius the name of their battery electric? They put all that work into it. And then they called the new one the droid name, whatever the hell it is,
BX, droid name.
Yeah,
there are a lot of examples of that where an automaker would just be at the cutting edge of something, and then they would just stop doing it.
GM, look, GM had
famously.
the skateboard chassis EV and the high wire stuff way back when, and they've done
Hey, I was selling EV1s in the 90s.
That's right. Even the EV1. That's the biggest example.
Oh, were they sold through Saturn dealerships?
Yeah, they were.
Yes, they were.
I test drove one.
And it was the first car that was branded GM. So it was a GM EV1 sold through Saturn dealers.
That's right. The badge in the nose was just a GM badge, right?
First time it was ever done. I wish I'd kept one of those. We didn't know about those things back in the day.
You say you lost it. Right.
I know. We could have figured.
Yeah. It's
There's a couple around, but not very
Where
many.
was the Saturn dealership back in the day that you guys had?
We had it in Santa Clarita and here where Volkswagen is now.
Oh, right up there.
Yeah. Saturn was great. Oh, those were the days.
Yeah, one day we should do a whole Saturn reminiscing episode.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I'll get stories.
Okay, I think that would be.
Oh, Spring Hill, one of the best experiences. Doing like
meetup?
ropes courses and everything. Oh, it was great.
They were I mean, like the Saturn
Did
people
they invite
were,
dealers to go do ropes courses? Is that what
we had to as salespeople. So we would do Saturn training in Spring Hill. Every salesperson had to fly there. Go through the factory tour. We got trained on customer handlement and engagement on the Saturn way. Then we do ropes course and learn all. It was magnificent.
Awesome.
It really was. It was the closest thing to an automotive cult until Tesla. Really.
Yeah. But I remember when it came out, people were genuinely excited about just the ethos of it.
Yeah.
It was real. Like this wasn't some corporate.
It really was a
bullshit.
different kind of car company.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the line. And
crazy.
the fact that GM kind of invented this whole new way it was meant to transform GM, which if it had been successful would have really been something for General Motors. But unfortunately, the other happened, and General Motors just
They ended up watering it down pretty heavily.
It just became rebadged Opals, and they lost all of that difference. You know,
So the difference wasn't just the cars, right? It was the way they sold cars, right?
No haggle, one price. So it wasn't a negotiation. We did everything up front. We had smaller margins as dealers, so we just worked on taking care of the customers. We had like this cutaway car, and we'd show people exactly how the car was built and the safety cage, and then you'd have the plastic door panels we'd jump up and down on that would never dent or anything. It was really a phenomenal time, and it wasn't like the greatest car in the world, but it was great in what it did, and it just it was greater than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean?
Unpretentious, and it wasn't trying to be anything it wasn't. I knew multiple people who bought Saturns back in the day when it came specifically because they didn't want to deal with like haggling a dealership. They just wanted a car, and for those people it was great. And then people got into it.
They were good cars, but it was a great experience.
We definitely at some point we should just earmark. Let's do a deep dive into that whole Saturn phenomenon because I think people don't know it. It's interesting.
Go on.
Right. This line of conversation was spurred by the i3 purchase. I also bought a second vehicle.
Yes.
I bought a Jeep Wrangler YJ, and the reason was...
That's more on brand.
Yeah.
Well, I'd always wanted one, but having lived in Detroit for 10 years...
Explain the YJ to our listeners in case they're unaware somehow.
It's the very first Jeep Wrangler. The very first. It is the successor to the CJ7, which, was...
What year?
The 1991 is the one I bought, but the YJ started in '87. And
explain the story. Like, why does the YJ exist? And for those people who don't know, it's the Jeep, the only Jeep to ever have square rectangular headlights.
Oh yeah,
it's a Jurassic Park one. And
actually, the Jurassic Park Jeep.
The Autopian is working on a great video and article on how the Wrangler came about, and it was actually a response to a 60 Minutes episode in 1980. It was very bad PR for Jeep at the time. It was about an IIHS rollover study on CJ5s, and it was all over the news. CJs roll over really easily, and there were a bunch of lawsuits and billions of dollar lawsuits.
I remember
something about the early '80s and rollovers. We were like, everybody was worried about rolling their cars. What the hell were we doing then? Because I remember
it was the SUV craze. That's what it was.
Well, the Samurai.
I have rolled over so many cars. I hate to say,
roll over at least once.
Yeah.
Rollovers are scary, man.
I guess they're scary.
Are.
But I remember that's when like all the convertibles, all of like the Cabriolet, the VW.
I just try to go limp.
You know what's scary about rollovers? It's not just that the roof will crush; it's that you will go into the roof. because you're
That's how gravity works.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like your restraint isn't going to keep your head from hitting the roof.
Yeah.
Speaking of, did you have like a hard top on yours that where it kind of looks kind of goofy, like
Yes.
Yes.
the body is too tall for the
Yes,
legs.
you know,
it's all abdomen and no legs.
See, I'm glad I agree with you on that, because otherwise I feel a little insulted. But it does look goofy, and I'm getting rid of the hard top, putting half doors on.
Yeah.
But
The
reason
doors
why-
suck also. It's got the full doors, and the line of the door is just wrong. It's just... Yeah.
So I bought this Jeep. It was the very first Jeep I looked at, and having moved from Detroit to California, I looked underneath it, and I was just mesmerized. It's perfect.
Because of no rust.
Like you can own a car in
That's
California.
Michigan perfect.
You can drive a car for 35 years, and it looks like it just rolled off the factory floor. It's crazy. Oh,
Yeah, just rolled off the factory floor, and again, I just a great assault with that. Right, you're from Michigan, you used to rust. Out here, it's normal.
you know, there's literally a different rust scale in Michigan than in the U.S. than in California. In California,
Rust scale?
a rust scale. So if you have
We don't rust things out here.
if you have surface rust on something in Michigan, you can say it has no rust, and everybody will agree there's no rust.
Oh,
But
wow.
if you took that same car to California, they'd say that's rusty. I don't even want to look at it, because why
Rust
should
it
they?
out.
Yeah.
There are plenty of cars that have zero. So a car with no rust in Michigan, here is a rust bucket.
It's graded on a curve there in
It
Michigan.
definitely is graded on the curve. Anyway, yeah, I was mesmerized by the YJ, and yeah, it's been great.
Tell about the reason. So it had square lights, and part of the reason they were rectangular is because what did they say at the factory?
Okay, so bringing it back to the rollover thing.
Yeah.
The CJ became the Wrangler because Jeep wanted an all-new vehicle. You know, they wanted it to seem like it was different, even though really it's not that different.
Yep.
They made a whole bunch of changes to it, and they called it a new name. And so it was called a Wrangler. So, hey, it doesn't roll over like the CJs. It's a different model. And the square headlights, some people within Jeep will tell you square headlights because squares don't roll. It's ridiculous.
problem.
I don't believe it because square was in the 80s, but
Yeah,
you know.
that's not why. I like to believe that some engineer felt like, you know what, I don't want to take any chances. Let's just make sure the
just-
headlights can't roll.
I can just see like the CEO of the company though, like, but boss, check this out.
Yeah, does it
Rectangles don't roll. I love it. Go with it. Done.
Someone got promoted for that, no
Yes.
doubt. Oh man.
like they had a ramp with the headlight, the round one of the square one, just to prove it. Look,
Yes.
we've tested this empirically. It doesn't roll.
That's right.
Just slides.
Safe. Tell that to Morley Safer.
Oh man. So I took this thing off road. I took a bone stock Wrangler off road.
Yeah.
In LA, and the most LA thing happened. I saw a $1 million RV.
Tell about what ends up because it gets crazy.
Yeah, so I was off-roading the Wrangler, and I spotted this off-road RV that I'd seen at the LA Auto Show. It was just outside
Yes.
the Galpin. Yeah, the
Yep.
black one. Yeah, just
Huge.
outside the Galpin area. And I was wondering, why is it sitting here? Like right there on the trail. There's no one in it. There was no one anywhere. And so I looked around, and it was clear the winch line was wrapped around its mirror, so they were trying to get it unstuck. So I looked around, looked underneath, and the drive shaft was twisted. It looked like a wet rag that had been twisted up.
Or like a Twizzler.
Yeah.
Like liquor. It was crazy twisted up. I think
Yeah,
we got a
actually,
picture.
we have a
Oh,
picture
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, it's crazy twisted.
Yeah, you can see there the rear drive shaft is popped out, and then lower below this, you can see right there. That's
See it?
the drive shaft. It's twisted like
See the
right there.
shiny
Oh,
bit?
wow. Yeah.
See, drive shafts they're hollow, so they can just twist up like that. Anyway, so we wrote an article about it, and we figured we'd reach out to the company, just let them have a statement. You know, we're talking about their product in
Yeah.
a way that's not, you know.
Yeah.
And the CEO of the company said, you know what, there was an issue with the Ford bearing, the F550 bearing. There was a problem, and this is an issue that lots of our competitors have. And then he named his competitor, and he said they have the same problem. I was like, well, if I'm going to quote that, I should probably at least make sure that I reach out to the competitor.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the competitor has this problem without
Right.
at least. So I reach out to the competitor, and the competitor kind of rips on the other company. So there's kind of like this two CEOs are going at it, like in the story. And anyway, it was a little.
Yeah, so David's email box was just two CEOs fighting with each other. It was a mess.
And it all started with this absurd $1 million off-road machine. But anyway,
Did someone just leave it there? They just got stuck and said, man.
There's the company owned that one, right?
I think that was actually a prototype, and it was being used by some media outlet, and yeah, they took it off road. They busted it. It weighs so much, It's like you can't just get that off the trail easily. So
it's not a great choice to go on a trail like that.
But anyway,
either.
that was pretty LA experience. $1 million off-road thing right there, just sitting there.
That's $1 million.
It's got a toilet.
Oh, okay.
Fridge.
Never mind.
Yeah, no, the interior is, it's pretty nice.
But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know who's buying these things.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it does look nice inside, though. I'll give them that. Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Do we get any other cars, David? It's just the YJ and the i3, both of which you love now.
That's true. I have been doing a little bit of work on the YJ, maybe in the office, and that's been a little
okay.
tricky.
Maybe we should talk about this. So, David now has he's part of greater Autopian headquarters out here on the West Coast, and David is at the office now, and I've heard some reports about David's behavior.
Well, I don't think they're real.
I'm not proud of as a representative.
I haven't heard these, so let's air out this dirty laundry.
I don't want to tattle. I don't want to tattle, but
I want to hear.
I do know there's the graphic arts team is in the same office, and they have a big. I'm someone who has a background in graphic art and design, and I remember these big paste up boards, like these big work tables
with
and
grids on them.
Yeah, you have to have grids, and you're putting documents together, X-Actos, you're cutting things, and one of the key things you want to have is they shouldn't be filthy. They shouldn't have a bunch of there's sterile areas. They shouldn't have a bunch of grime and grit, and it shouldn't be like you took like a mop.
This is Matt Hardigree, the publisher of the Autopian, and I'm here with a warning/preview of the next episode. David Tracy was encouraged by all of us to move to Los Angeles to be closer to the Galpin mothership and everyone there. It has not worked out entirely as expected because David is a mess of a human being, so come back next week for the next episode of the podcast to find out where that's working well and maybe in some gross ways why it is not working out. You can find all these podcasts and some really wonderful articles you can't get anywhere else on www.theautopian.com. And P.S., if you love what we do here, you can become a vinyl velour or rich Corinthian leather member of the Autopian by going to theautopian.com and clicking the button that says support us, because as these podcasts are probably demonstrating, we need all the help we can get.